Three things define a person: their patience when they have nothing, their attitude when they have everything, and their kindness to those who can't offer nothing. Hi there, fancy friends. Welcome to Sunita Makes Crochet Items. Today is Tuesday, April 1st, April Fools. And I'm going to kick off today wearing my Hat Not Hate shirt I won a few years ago on Instagram, I believe. Anyway, long story short, since yesterday was such a day, I tried to clean this room and I just wore myself out. I didn't do a great job, but I did get a desk built, which is what you're sitting on right now. But I gotta get all this nonsense put away somewhere. I don't know, but it's taking me away from playing with the yarn. So yesterday I created I don't know what I did with it, my hat that we came up with a stitch. We as in Genie Butterfly Dreams. So we are all contributing into making the CoMingle stitch, which was inspired by Spring, the fiber enthusiast. She did a Tunisian stitch pattern, which I thought was pretty clever. But Tunisian and we can do it, but we are not that great at it. Anyway, long story short, we came up with a stitch pattern, which is called the CoMingle stitch, because we're commingling different stitches that we're learning from all aspects of YouTube. So today I'm gonna work up one with this hat, which this is leftover yarn that I use. It's Premier, I know that. I just don't know what the color is because the band is gone, but I'll probably find it. But that's what I'm working on today. I got my burst of kindness ready to go, and I'm doing the first row of half double crochets to start the camo stitch of the body. Well, April is Fools to me. I lost to Yarn Chicken. I was like literally this close to getting this row done. But also too, this was only a 60 count. It's not big enough. It just barely fits me. So guess what? This is gonna get fogged and start over with something else. I don't know. But in the meantime, I'm gonna start over. I got a big old worsted in the color Sage, which I think will be a better, I'm sorry, I had to clean my ice maker, and so it's been running all day. Anyway, long story short, I'm gonna try the stitch all over, and I'm gonna actually time myself to see how long it actually takes me to make the project. And I did change up the pattern just a little bit because if you can see, I like the texture of this, and it's more like a fancier stitch, but it all lines up. And I did it so it won't turn. I don't have to turn it, because to get a hat done you gotta just keep going in the same pattern, the same rhythm, you know, just same old. Anyway, long story short, I'm gonna start over, and hopefully this will be a success. I am using a 6.0 clover hook, not sponsored, I'm going to use the Premier Just Yarn Worsted Value. There is 875 yards in this, so if I can't finish a hat with this, I don't know what else is wrong. Granted, I still have that spring green one that I made that crisscross double stitch hat with. Anyway, I'm feeling and I'm enjoying the CoMingle stitch. I'm putting little tweaks here and there, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna go with it. So thank you for watching. I'll come back and hopefully I'll have a hat to show you. Okay friends, I started this at 1:30. It is 3 o'clock now. So it took me pretty much a long time to get this done, but I think I'm mathing it properly. So I did the Burst of Kindness crown with 10 double crochets, and I think 10 is the magic number because the CoMingle is a multiple of 5, but for the most part all I did was the Burst of Kindness in double crochets, which it says spinning. It's good. And I did use original 10 to make sure it's big enough, but this is a multiple of 10 and I did 8 rounds, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 rounds. So I am at a stitch count of 80, and then I did a row of half double crochets all the way around, and then I did a row of single crochet on the 3rd loop of the half double to get this little, what do you call this, camo stitch. And then I did the first initial row of the CoMingle stitch, which is just a single crochet in the next stitch and then a yarn over the hook. Like you have to move your yarn in front of the hook, which we call that the purl single. And then when I did the cluster stitch, I did it as a double crochet cluster versus just a single crochet cluster, just to make it come out a little bit more. And then just repeated that all the way until you got to the last stitch, which should be a single crochet, which it is. And then we'll just repeat that around and just keep going until this is about 4 to 6 inches. I don't know, depending on what size I'm going for. I'm gonna go find the measure tape, but I need to take a break right now because it is 3 o'clock. It's lunchtime, technically dinner. So I just finished the second row of the CoMingle stitch, and I ended with a purl single. So it's gonna like alternate itself. Anyway, that's row 2 completed, and I think what I'm gonna do is just show you the repeats of how to do one set, and then you just keep doing that until you get all the way back. And I got a piece of hair on my face. And then I'm just gonna move the stitch markers each row I get to. So it's fun to make, and it's keeping me interested, you know? So yeah, this is what's on the hook today. Alright, so here is how you start it off. Now I just did the cluster here, which I'll go over again, but since the cluster was done on the top of this stitch, we're just gonna go down to the next set of rows. So the chain 2 that I did, which I'll explain in a little bit. You do a single crochet and the chain 2. Pull the yarn in front of your hook like that. Just keep it over here. And then in this stitch here, you're gonna go in the loop, and then while it's in front, you're just gonna pull it back, so it kind of goes like that, and then single crochet. And then in the next stitch, you're going to do a yarn over, go in the loop. This is like a double crochet, but you stop there. You just go the first 2 loops, yarn over, go in the next stitch, which is the start of the cluster, yarn over, go through 2, and then the last cluster, yarn over, and right here is where we yarn over and went through the stitch. So this one's kind of hard to get into, but be patient, you can do it. Just yarn over, go in that stitch, like I said, it's a tough one. Just make sure you go through the first 2 loops like that, yarn over, and go through the first 2 loops. So now you should have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, and go through all 4, and we're going to close it up with a chain 2. So that's your cluster stitch there. So you went through this is the, technically in the last row it was the purl single, and then the first cluster, and then the top of the chain. Does that make sense? We'll do the set all together one more time. So in the chain 2, you do a single, yarn over the front, go in the loop, and I'd like to hold it down. See how it crosses over, and yarn over. Alright, go through 2. Now we're back to the front post cluster, or I should say the purl single. And how you know that is because that line right there. So we did a single, we did a purl. See how it's got that line there? Yarn over, go in that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, go into the cluster, pull through 2, and then go to the top of the chain. And go through 2, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 4, and then we're going to close it 1, 2 with the chain 2, and then you just start all over. So single in the chain 2, purl single in the next stitch, which was that stitch there, and then we're gonna double crochet cluster in the next 3 stitches. So first one is gonna be on top of the cluster, second one is going to be on the, let's call that PSC, purl single crochet, and then in the beginning of the chain 2, That's why it's a little goofy. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. Then you have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 4 and chain 2. And that is basically what you repeat all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. I hope that didn't confuse you. I would say this is more so an advanced stitch or pattern, but I got to the stitch marker. Basically I ended with 1 stitch left, which you should, and I did the purl single crochet, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the cluster. So technically you're going to be kind of alternating the stitch all the way around. So because I finished the purl single crochet, I'm gonna move the stitch marker here, and then I'm just gonna keep repeating. So you always gonna do a single crochet in the chain 2 space, and then you're gonna purl single crochet in the previous single, and then you're going to always start the cluster in the purl single crochet of the previous row, and you always end your double crochet cluster on top of the cluster where you close it off and chain 2. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let me know if you guys are confused. We can have a one-on-one on this, because I think because this was technically our pattern that we did back in November, I made a headband in this stitch, and it's very pretty. I love it, and I really like this stitch, and it's challenging yet easy for me because it computed. So I think the rest of my hats that I make are going to be with this stitch, but I'm trying to perfect it because I started with the 80 count, and I'm going on to row 3 now, but it's kind of alternating, so it's gonna be a little bit hard for me to make a pattern of this. But for the most part, you just repeat those steps over and over. It's a 1 row repeat, honestly. So yeah, I don't know. I think the more I talk, the more I confuse myself, so I hope you're not confused. Let's make a little jingle so we can remember. Single in the chain 2, purl in the next stitch, cluster, start 1, start 2, and in the top of the chain 2, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, chain 2, and start over. And it should start to cup, which is what you want. Okay, I'm coming up to the end of row 1, 2, 3. Was this 4? Yeah, this was row 4. So basically single crochet in the chain 2, purl in the next stitch, and then we're gonna start the cluster double in the next 3 stitches, which the last cluster leg should always be on top of that chain 3 or chain 2 space where we close it up. And yarn over all 4, chain 2, and see, here's your chain 2, here's your single, and then here's your previous single. So then we start all over. So I'm gonna single in the chain 2, purl in the single, and then we're gonna start our cluster there, there, and on top of that single. And then we're gonna pull through all and single crochet or chain 2. I'm just gonna move my stitch marker to the chain 2 space. And on to row 5. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, going to row 5. I'll see how many I actually finish on this, because this is how far it's gotten so far. Look at that stitch work. Can you see it? That's nice. I like it. It's got a little staggered versus this one that I did was kind of lining up in columns. But because we're going in the round and it's not really turning, it's all the same stitches. It's just, you know, moving over one. So, okay. So I ended up doing 6 CoMingle rows, and basically I ended with a chain 2 to finish off the cluster stitch. And I measured this from here to here. It's 8 inches, so roughly for an adult beanie it's 9 inches in circumference or in length. And so what I'm gonna do now is just kind of leave it as is. Not really. So yeah, see, it comes down to my ears, so then it's gonna be about another inch or 2 left to work up the crown or the brim. And so what I'm gonna do now is basically half double crochets around and make sure I get back to 80. I hope. With fingers crossed. So we're still gonna work in the same stitches and basically just one around each. So half double in the chain 2, half double in the single, half double in the purl, half double in the cluster. I'm going to skip that top and just go half double in the chain 2, half double in the single, half double in the purl. Just go all the way around. Yeah, 65. I ended up 65 stitches. Now, because this one was done in there's a little hole there, but we can sew that out later. Go back 2 extended singles and then 3 half doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Just keep counting to 5. I gotta get a little closer. This is taking a lot of brain power. I think I might have to go to bed after this. I math right because I ended up with 3 half double crochets, and here's my stitch marker. So now what you're gonna do for the rest of the rows until you get to as wide as you want it to be, which technically I do about 2 to 3 rows of the repeat, and the repeat is going to be extended single in the extended single, and then front post half double crochet in the half double crochets. So that should be 3, and just repeat that until you get about, I would say, because that's already almost an inch, so I would say 2 more times. And then the final row is just going to be single crochet in each stitch around. I'll come back when I get there. And this is a long video, so if you are still here, you know what? Thank you for your patience and thank you for hanging out with me. I think I'm gonna do a little giveaway. Thank you for sticking around. And basically, what I want you to answer is, the question is gonna be, what color did I use for this? If you answer it correctly, I will put your name on the wheel and we'll pick a winner on my next live. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. So do 2 more rows of this repeat, which is just extended in the extended, and then front post half doubles in the next 3 stitches. Do that for 2 rounds. If you're even working this up with me, or if you're not confused by all my mumbo jumbo. But you know what? Bonus, if you actually figure this out without having me to do an actual tutorial, which, you know, depending on how it goes, I'm gonna continue to make more. It's just gonna be a hot minute before I get an actual tutorial out, because I'm not the best at tutorials. You saw when I was trying to explain, and then I don't have the, what's the word, the audio and the visual. I mean, I do, but I don't know how to use it. And plus I have the dogs. You probably hear somebody licking the floor right now. And then you hear the puppies walking back and forth. See, here comes another one. Uh-oh, he's seen somebody at the window. Now he's gonna start barking. I try to edit that out because, you know, life be lifing. So I'm on row 3 of the brim. It's getting there. I like it. I like it a lot. So we're just gonna do, probably this will be the last row of the half doubles, and then I'll start the single crochet row. But remember, my extended singles, you go in the extended. Do you guys know how to do an extended single? Because extended single is basically going in, pulling up a loop, like kind of doing a chain 1, and then pulling through all 2. And you guys should know how to do a front post 3. Yeah, so I did the initial row, which was a single crochet, and then I did 2 extended singles and then 3 half doubles in each stitch. This is working out really nice, guys. Okay, so let's just recap and finish up this long video. And actually, I wonder how long it's going to take for me to actually post it. Because, you know, sometimes the longer the video, the longer it takes to post. It might be a few days. It won't be April Fool's anymore. Okay, so I finished row 3. I'm going to finish row 4 of the brim, which is putting single crochet in the extended single and then front post single and the 3 half doubles, and then we're going to fasten off and call it a day. And then we'll have to, of course, sew in your tails. You should only have the 2 tails, one from the beginning and one at the end. But then wherever it's got gaps, if you want to close it up, you can. If not, you know, do what's best for you. But again, thank you for those that are still here. It is now 7 o'clock. So I've been working on this hat for a good 6 hours, technically, but I did also stop to eat, let the dogs out, put laundry in the washing machine. It was an eventful day, but you know, it is what it is. Thank you again for hanging out with me. And remember, my mystery question was, what color is this? Leave your answer in the description below, and we'll pick a winner. And it'll be at my next live. But depending on how long this video takes to post, you know, we'll figure it out. And I haven't decided on what the gift will be. But just know that I appreciate you for being here and watching the video all the way through. You guys are the best. So it just basically cleans up the edge, the bottom of the hat. It makes it look really nice and pretty. So let me just end my video by saying thank you for watching. Love yourself so you can love everyone else. Take care.